All right, get ready to dive into a real rock and roll mystery today. We're talking about Hotel California, that classic Eagles song. We all know it. We've all sung along to it a million times. But have you ever stopped to think about what it really means? Like, what's going on beneath the surface?
Yeah, it's a question that's haunted music fans for, forever.
Yeah.
And what makes it even more interesting is that this song, Hotel California, it's become something else. Especially in Latin America. It's played at weddings, dedicated as a love song. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Like, is there something darker hiding in plain sight?
That's exactly what we're going to try and figure out. We've got these 3 sources in Spanish that offer some pretty interesting takes. So, our mission today, break down the lyrics, separate the truth from the myths, and hopefully discover what truly inspired this legendary song.
I think to understand the mystery, we got to start with what we know for sure, right? So the song came out in February 1977, written by Don Felder, Don Henley, and Glenn Frey. It went straight to #1, basically cemented the Eagles as, rock legends. And that guitar solo by Joe Walsh, man, it's iconic.
But was it really meant to be just another love song? One of our sources, called Decoding Hotel California, it paints a completely different picture. It suggests the lyrics are all about this mix of things, like satanic cults, drugs, the crazy energy of Los Angeles, and a terrifying hotel you can check out of, but you never truly escape.
Yeah, that's definitely an attention-grabbing headline. And it really plays into the whole mystery surrounding the song, right? This article says that Frey wanted dark lyrics, he wanted the mystery. He even drew inspiration from this novel called The Magus by John Fowles.
Okay, now hold on a second. The Magus. I've heard of that book, but I've never actually read it. What's the connection to Hotel California?
So The Magus is known for its themes of illusion, like manipulation, psychological games. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, the protagonist in the book is drawn into this world of hidden meanings and these seductive traps, which some people say mirrors the themes of Hotel California. Maybe this deep dive is giving you a new book to check out.
Yeah, I'm adding that to my list. But getting back to Hotel California, the article also talks about Don Henley. And he had a totally different interpretation of the song. He saw it as a commentary on the, that wild lifestyle of Los Angeles back in the 70s.
And, that wasn't a one-off theme for the Eagles. They often used their music to comment on what was happening, reflecting on the American experience. In the 2013 documentary, History of the Eagles, Henley himself says, on every album we made some kind of commentary on the music business and on American culture.
So we've got these 2 different interpretations, but maybe they're not that far apart? Could be both. Like, is Hotel California both a warning about the dark side of fame and also this bigger reflection on the American dream, the allure and the danger of it all?
It's definitely possible, right? And that's what makes it so fascinating. But wait, there's another layer of mystery here. So the article mentions this actual hotel in Todos Santos, Mexico, that's supposed to be the inspiration for the song. But here's the thing, the album cover. It features a totally different hotel in Beverly Hills. What's up with that? 2 locations. It's like, what are they trying to tell us?
Okay, that's interesting. Could it be that they're playing with this idea of California as more of a concept, like a state of mind instead of an actual place?
I think you might be onto something. It's like California itself becomes this kind of Hotel California, full of promise and excitement, but also temptation and ultimately disappointment.
Right. To really get a feel for those temptations, let's break down the lyrics, take a ride with this song. The song opens with our protagonist driving on this desert highway, smoking colitas, which, by the way, is slang for marijuana, just in case you didn't know. Right away, you get that feeling of escaping, venturing into the unknown, right?
Yeah, totally. And as they're driving, they see this light in the distance. I mean, could that light be the allure of Los Angeles? The city of angels, all shimmering and promising fame and fortune.
It's like a beacon in the night, drawing them in. But what are they going to find at the end of that highway? They get to the Hotel California, and this woman welcomes them inside.
That woman, she's an interesting character, right? Some people see her as temptation itself, leading the protagonist down a dangerous path. It's interesting, she lights a candle, guiding them deeper into this hotel. And things aren't always what they seem in this place.
And then those voices, man, so iconic. Welcome to the Hotel California, such a lovely place. But is it really so lovely? I don't know. As they walk in, the protagonist sees this scene of pure indulgence. Pink champagne on ice. Pretty, pretty boys. It's a party that never ends.
It's like the song's painting this picture of pure excess, indulging and everything, maybe even losing control. The guests are caught in this whirlwind of pleasure, but you gotta wonder, is there a price to pay for this kind of freedom? It makes you think.
It does. And then there's that line that always gets me. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Now, this is where things get really dark, right? Are they talking about a real beast, or is it like something metaphorical? Maybe our own demons, the things we struggle with.
Well, that's the beauty of symbolism, isn't it? It's up to you to decide. But it definitely adds this feeling of danger to the whole atmosphere of the hotel, It's not just a place to party. There's something sinister lurking just below the surface.
And that danger, man, it gets even more real when the protagonist tries to leave. They know something's off, they want out, but then they hear that chilling line. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Whoa, it's powerful, isn't it? That feeling of being trapped, of being seduced by something that won't let you go. That line, it's really the key to understanding the whole message of the song. But we'll have to dig into that more in our next segment. Welcome back.
Do they give us any clues about those mysterious voices that welcome people to the hotel? Are we talking friendly ghosts, or is there something more sinister going on?
Well, they don't really give us any straight answers, but they do play with the mystery, building on that feeling of entrapment and illusion that we talked about earlier. These sources suggest that maybe the hotel represents a place where, reality itself gets distorted. It's where you can lose yourself in pleasure and excess, but in the end, you pay a big price.
That reminds me of that line, mirrors on the ceiling, the pink champagne on ice. It all sounds so lavish, so decadent, but there's this darkness there too, almost like it's all a facade, hiding something more sinister.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the hotel's tricking you. It lures you in with promises of paradise, but then once you're trapped inside, it shows its true colors. And, this connects back to what you were saying about the cultural layer. Remember those colitas the protagonist is smoking at the beginning?
Mm-hmm. Right, the marijuana. And it's specifically a term used in Mexico and Latin America.
Exactly. So imagine you're living in Latin America back in the 70s, a time when things are pretty intense, politically and socially, in a lot of countries. You hear this song about a seductive hotel, a place to escape and lose yourself in pleasure, and it might hit you differently, you know what I mean? Like, it could speak to this deep desire to escape the harsh realities of life, to find some kind of refuge from a world that feels chaotic and uncertain.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. It makes you realize that a song can mean something completely different depending on who's listening and what they're going through.
For sure, and that's why it's so important to look at things from different angles, especially with a song like Hotel California, which is so complex and layered. These Spanish sources also really highlight the idea that the hotel might represent the dark side of the American dream, Chasing wealth and fame can be so tempting, but it often comes with a hefty price tag.
It's like, be careful what you wish for, right? You might get what you want, but then what? And can you ever really leave that world behind once you've entered it? That seems to be the big question the song is wrestling with.
Yeah, that whole part where the protagonist tries to run away from the hotel is such a strong image. It represents that feeling we all have sometimes, that urge to break free from whatever's holding us back, whether it's addiction, a bad relationship, societal pressures, or even just a lifestyle that's not working anymore.
But then you hear that line, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. And it just chills you to the bone. It suggests that maybe true escape is just an illusion. What do you think that line really means?
I think it's about the consequences of our choices, We like to think we're in control, that we can walk away from anything we want, but sometimes it's not that simple. Certain experiences, they change us, they shape who we are, and you can't just erase the past.
It's like a shadow that follows you no matter how fast you run. And maybe that's part of what makes Hotel California so powerful and so unsettling. It acknowledges that darkness, that feeling of being tied to something you can't fully escape.
It reminds you that even when you're surrounded by pleasure and excess, there can still be this feeling that something's wrong, this sense of unease. And that feeling, it can stick with you long after the party is over.
Okay, so we've got the symbolism of the hotel, the pull of Los Angeles, the idea of being trapped by your desires.
And we haven't even talked about those interpretations about satanic rituals and cults, which some people believe are hidden in the lyrics.
Wait, satanic rituals? Now that's a pretty wild interpretation. Do these sources actually give any evidence for that?
Well, they don't come right out and say it, but they do mention certain lines that have fueled those theories. Like, remember that line about stabbing the beast with steely knives? Some people think that's a reference to occult practices.
Yeah, I can see how that imagery would make people think that. But I wonder if it's more about a symbolic struggle, like trying to overcome our darker impulses.
That's the thing about this song. It can be read in so many different ways. And maybe that's the point. The Eagles never actually confirmed any one meaning, so it stays a mystery, a puzzle that every listener can try to solve in their own way.
So you're saying there's no right answer, that Hotel California is like a mirror, reflecting back our own experiences and fears.
Yeah, I think so. And that's why it still speaks to people today, even after all these years. It lets each listener find their own personal meaning, their own Hotel California within the lyrics.